Hey y'all.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, y'all cute. Y'all cute. How y'all doing today?
Girl,
Good.
I'm excited. I was dancing to the countdown music like, yes, you better come on music.
Not dancing to the countdown
y'all
music.
wasn't dancing. Okay, well it's
No, ma'am.
Situation up because it was like do do
No,
do do.
wasn't.
you better groove
I
to
am
that
so
music.
happy to be on live with y'all. And what are we on? Facebook Live,
Nice.
Facebook Live, YouTube Live,
Uh,
and I'm so excited to just be talking to you guys today and also sharing with the world. Okay, the squad. We are the squad. My name is Kay Horton, and um, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So I guess we should start with introductions. So I guess I'll start. My name is Kay Horton. What do y'all need to know about me? Academically, I am a MBA, so I have my Master of Business Administration from Rockford University, where I studied leadership. And then I am a doctoral candidate, prepared, almost there to receive my doctorate in business administration, also organizational leadership. And then that's who I am academically. She snapped, finger snaps. Hey. Okay, and then professionally, I work in banking. So I work with small business administration loans in the risk management department at the bank. And then passionately, I'm here for the girls. I'm here for the professional girls. I enjoy helping people learn about how to be, or helping women learn how to be professional women. I am here to teach you, help you, mold you, give you all the things, get you together, because you will find out that I will get you together about being a professional. And then I am going to, say, that's me. So next, I'm gonna let's pass it to Ray. Now let me tell y'all about Ray. Ray is my sister cousin. Let me tell you about these ladies in general. These ladies in general are fire. First of all, you'll figure it out yourselves. I'll let y'all figure it out. But they are absolutely, positively the best women I know, hands down, aside from my mom. And they are amazing. And I'm excited that we are all going to be able to share our expertise with you. Ray is my writer. We talk literally. I talk to all of them every day, but me and Ray talk literally every single day. She's so smart. And y'all, most importantly, she's so connected spiritually to God. And I just enjoy that about her. So go ahead, Ray.
Hey, you guys. Hi, everyone. Like Kay mentioned, I am Ray Aja. A little bit about me. Professionally, I work for Express, and I also work for a nonprofit organization in the city of Rockford. I'm really excited about that. It's super huge. We work with entrepreneurs. I got my master's in business administration as well from the illustrious Alabama A&M, none other. And there, I've learned a lot about myself there when it comes to just people in general. I'm a people person. I love the people of God. I have a heart for God's people. So that just led me into getting my degree, my HR focused degree. And I will pass it over to Chelsie. Chelsie is our in-house therapist. You get super excited, and I'll let her take it away there.
Yes. Thank you so much. So yes, like she mentioned, my name is Chelsie. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor. I have been working in the mental health field for about 10 years now. And if y'all follow me on social media, if you don't follow me at your cadence. That's Instagram, you see it. But if you follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, then you know that I love talking about mental health. All I really post about is mental health because, well, I just like it. And well, it's what I do professionally. And so getting back to my occupation, so I work with, I've had the opportunity to work in multiple mental health settings. Currently, I work in the forensic side and I also do some independent work. So forensically, I work with individuals who have committed some pretty heinous crimes in their lives. They've done their time in prison, they've done their time in some other settings, and they are working on re-entering society and just trying to live healthier lifestyles. So I help them with that, and it is so rewarding. I also do private practice, and I love private practice, y'all, because I get to hang out and talk to people like me all the time. And so I'm helping oftentimes young professional women of color with boundaries with family, interpersonal relationships, all of those types of things. And honestly, it's exciting and we help each other. And I just love lifting other women up. I love lifting up people in general, but I really have a soft spot in my heart for young professional women of color. Um, I am also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I would be just a fool not to say Happy Founders Day to my lovely sorors today. So, for those sorors who are on, thank
Oh,
you for joining us. Happy Founders Day.
happy
Um, and
birthday.
the last thing that I will say about myself is I'm very passionate about educating. I love to educate people about mental health, and I oftentimes utilize personal examples. So, I'll bring my own personal therapy experience into it, drama that I got with my friends. I done talked about some of these ladies in my therapy sessions. I love y'all. Um, to share examples of just like how I work through stuff because I'm a human, and so I love to educate in that format. Okay, that's enough about me. I'm gonna pass it on to Lynn. Lynn is bomb. She is like a financial like guru expert, and she also does like everything, y'all. And so we save the best for last. So you better come through, girl.
Everybody. I'm Lynn. And like she said, I'm a financial guru because I'm obsessed with financial education. I have an MBA in finance from the University of Arizona. Right now, I'm working in the finance department at Kohl's Corporation, hashtag life at Kohl's. I'm contracted to say that. I also sell life insurance because I want to promote generational wealth. I'm also a notary and I am an entrepreneur. I have a mobile signing business. And my overall mission for anybody I talk to is to make sure finances does not deter you in any way, but it propels you. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about budgeting and everything and how I talk to these guys about it. And hey,
Hey, hey,
All
ladies.
right, awesome,
Hey
awesome. Hey,
y'all. Hey
so
y'all.
we're excited to go on this journey with all of you guys and each other to kind of introduce you to, not kind of, to introduce you to who we are and to also be the host of Girl Talk Conversations. And no, this is not just for the ladies. We'll give y'all men some insight. We know y'all interested and y'all want to know what they call it, itch and ear. So
Yeah.
we'll share with the men as well. But we really are here to host Girl Talk Conversations about all things relationships, all things love, friendships, family, mental health, finances, career, spirituality, you name it. We're here to talk about that. And not just in this conversation, but in all of the conversations to come, because there are conversations to come, and we'll share about that. We'll share more about that toward the end. But yeah, today's conversation is about friendships, right? It's about friendships. How do you keep friendships? How do you maintain friendships? How do you grow from friendships? When do you know when to cut off friendships? All of the above. That's what we're here to talk about today is friendships. And so we have some questions that we're going to ask each other, and feel free to like ask any question um, that you have in the chat. Um, yes, feel free to ask questions in the chat. And then we have some young ladies that are going to help us kind of keep those questions at the forefront. Or Chelsea, I think you said you were going to do that part. You can put the questions in the private chat so we can see
I
them and then we
certainly
can answer.
did, ma'am,
Okay.
and I can go ahead and
Sorry,
kick
I
it
just
off
put
if
you
you
on the spot.
like.
Y'all, I do that a lot. Yeah, go ahead, Chelsea. Ask us our first question.
Okay. So here we go, guys. And so, as Kay mentioned, the topic is friendships today. And so we thought, what better way to kind of kick off our first event and really try to really introduce you guys to the squad is to talk about, well, basically like how to maintain your squad. What do you do when, relationships get tough, when to walk away, all that cool stuff. So the first question is, for my ladies, how do you show up in your friendships? Like, how do you show up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chelsea, answer first.
How do I show up in my friendships? I'm not always the nicest. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not always the nicest. Sometimes they can be moody, um, but who's not? But honestly, for me, and I was thinking about this today because I have a daughter. I have a 4-year-old, y'all, and we drove an hour. I'm in Rockford right now. We drove an hour to go to her friend's birthday party, and we drove an hour back so I can make it here on time. And I thought about like I canceled on this girl's birthday party last year because we couldn't make it. And I think about the value of showing up for people. It's so important to me. It's such a value to show up for my friends. And I have seen over the years when I show up for people, people show up for me. Right. And so I don't mean just showing up like, hey, shooting a text message or a phone call like every 6 months. Like, oh, you have an event, you had invited me, I RSVP'd, I'm showing up. Because that means something to that person. Like my daughter probably doesn't have a concept of what it means to show up for her friends yet. But you know what I mean? I want the parents to know that we value their time. That we value their money because you pay for these parties. Okay, they're not cheap. And I also want my friends to know, the people who are in my life in various facets, that I greatly appreciate when you guys show up for me, and I always want to show up for you in whatever way I can. So I'd say that's how I show up for my friends physically. It's really important. What about y'all?
Right.
So for me personally, one thing I got from my sister, when I would go to her for like different topics, just to talk to her, she would say, "Are you venting to me or do you want a response?" Mm-hmm. So I use that in any conversation, especially like those ones where you can tell it's kind of like stiff a little bit. Like, okay, girl, how you need me to be here? Like, do you want me to be your friend? You want me to give you some advice? I literally will ask, what are you looking for and expecting from me in this conversation, so I know how to show up for you. So that's the best way I can, go about it. And so far it's worked. Even when it's the tough ones, when they say, just give me your advice, it's worked. So just asking. And I think that's the best way to do so.
Awesome. All right, Leanne.
Showing up means being present for me. Whether that be physically or emotionally or even just mentally there, because as women, we show up for our friends physically and we think that's enough because we got all these mental things going on day to day. But being present for that friend in that moment is very, very, very important to me. So making sure that I'm intentionally going to a place, or I'm in front of my friend for the reason that they need, and that I'm at a place where I can pour out into them when I go. So being present all the way around.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love all the answers. Yes, ma'am.
You were the last one to answer, huh? I just got one more thing. I think also, so we're talking about how you show up for your friendships. I thought it's also important. I wanted to piggyback off of Ray. I think it's really important as a friend. Sometimes you have to like verbalize what you need to your friends, because people can't read your mind, right? People can't read my mind. And so to the point of like, like, what do you need right now? Sometimes you literally have to start the conversation with, I need you to not say anything. I don't want any critical feedback. Don't tell me I need to stop talking to him. I just need you to hear me vent. And maybe I'll be open to hearing
things. You should be able to say that, and you should be able to respect that it's been said to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's your friend.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
That's it.
For me, how I show up, I consider myself, I like to call myself as the igniter, right? And so in calling myself the igniter, I like to challenge, and these ladies will tell you that I like to challenge thoughts. I like to challenge ideas. I like to challenge, girl, do you think I should be with him? I like to challenge all of that. And I'm the friend that is going to provide all of the input. And you better say what Ray and Chelsie told you to say. You better say to me, girl, I'm just venting. Because if you don't, it's going to be advice, a challenge, a story, a scripture, or something. And just to help. And like, that's what I feel like the goal is in my friendships, is to be the person that my friends can lean on, to be very present, like Lynn was saying, and to be the person, not just physically, but in every way, and the person that my friends can lean on and trust, and appreciate, and ask for advice and all of that stuff. Ray, were you going to add something?
No.
I was.
Saying
was what she's saying is, with those questions, it's also important to know your friend. So if I need to be coddled on something, I'm not going to call Kay. I love the girl, but she's not going to coddle me. That's not her mission. That's not her personality, and that's not what she's here for. So knowing your friend when you go to that friend and being present in that and self-aware of yourself is very important too.
I love that. And we had somebody share also how they show up. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Miss Passion said,
Come
Chelsea.
on, Soror. I respect my friends' privacy. I do not share their business, no matter how big or small, with anyone. I also listen and understand that everyone does not think the way I do, nor do I want the same things out of life. That is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like those last two parts, like everybody don't want what you want.
Mm-hmm.
We are not
That's
living the
good,
same
Miss
journey of
Passion.
life. That's so
Yeah,
good. Hmm.
And I think that's
that's
a
really
really good way to like check in with yourself too, because well, last week I got challenged, right? And I sent some stuff and I was venting, and I didn't qualify that I was venting. Yeah, you remember that? I was venting, and I got challenged, and I was not in the mood for that challenge. I just wanted to vent, but I needed to take the day because I took the day to sit back and remember that okay, they weren't inside of my mind, and that's what they do. And I know my friends, and they're coming from a good and loving place.
right.
So I love that.
Yeah. It's good.
Absolutely. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, so our next question is, and we see your questions, and we're gonna add your questions on at the end as well, because somebody asked about boundaries, and we're gonna go there.
I
Yes.
love
So,
it. I love it.
yes, yes. Okay, so the next question is, so we got it. How do you show up in difficult situations? And we'll go in the same order, with starting with Chelsea. How do you show up in difficult situations?
So difficult situations for me. I think I do think it depends. Like I'm not perfect, right? Nobody is.
Yeah.
So sometimes I will get, when I'm not regulated, I can get defensive, right? When I'm not aware, right? We talked a lot about awareness yesterday, when we were meeting. But I can't when I'm not I can recognize that I am getting defensive, right? When I take a step back and I pause, recognize who I'm talking to, or take a look at myself because sometimes here, um, then I will take a look and see, okay, like how am I contributing to this situation? Do I maybe just need to walk away from this person, or just this situation in general? I think it truly does depend on the situation. I've had, issues with people, family, friends, even sorrows in the past where it just we just weren't seeing eye to eye. We were just weren't communicating well with each other. And we've taken breaks from each other, right? I've allowed myself to take a break from that person, and maybe that's what they had to do for me as well. And in some cases we mended and we got back together. In other cases we didn't. But I think it's recognizing how you contribute to the problem, because I'm really big on that in my life right now, taking accountability for my actions, how I show up, but then also recognizing that I'm not the only one at fault because it takes two to tango. And if they can't even match me with their accountability stuff, then we probably don't need to be interacting with each other at this point. And I might be jumping the gun just a little bit with the other topics, but I digress.
No, that's real. That's real though. So yeah. Oh, y'all ready for me? Okay, cool. So how I show up in difficult situations, um, I believe before a situation gets to the most challenging part, it was already you have been challenged already. So
Zero
for
to
me,
one,
at
right?
that point, I'm already praying. Like, God, what's going on? What's she talking about? What's she mean? Where's she coming from? Like, help me understand before it gets to the showing up to where I have to show up part. So like I said, I'm already praying and asking for the window to have the difficult conversations, to be there in the difficult situation. Um, and if that situation does arise, how I will show up again, I'm going to ask you, how do you need me to be here? I'm going to let you know this is the reality of the situation. Like, for example, I don't think I owe this person an apology. Well, me on the other side of it, outside looking in, I feel like you do. So I'm gonna let you get out what you need to get out, and I'll let you know. No, you were wrong. You were wrong for this, that, and that. Or if it's something personal, like my friend and myself having a little shindig or something going on, I'll just be open and let you know, like, no, I did not like this. You hurt my feelings. I know that we both played a part in this, but I need to let you know where I'm at with it before we go forward. So my policy is honesty, open door policy when it comes to friends.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Lynn.
I would say the exact same honesty with
Mm-hmm.
myself, the situation, my boundaries, and also my friend boundaries. You have to have a clear outcome goal. And it's always out of love. It's always out of, whatever the motivation is. So if there's a difficult situation that's presenting itself to me, I have to first check myself and then check my boundaries. Because a lot of times we go into difficult situations ready to fight.
Right.
You can't go if I'm showing up in a difficult situation with my friend, it shouldn't be, we should common groundly not be ready to fight. Mm-hmm. We're going to disagree because we're not, again, on the same journey, but it's not a fight. So when I'm coming to my friend in a difficult situation, I'm first checking myself, my insecurities and things like that before I let that come into this situation. And then I'm checking my boundaries to make sure, okay, yes, I'm having this conversation with this person or this situation. If my boundary gets crossed, I'm leaving. Yeah. But if we're at the same common ground, we need to be honest with each other to get through, because that's the only way we're going to get through this, is if we're honestly being honest about our ending outcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Everything y'all said is really good. I feel like this question can be looked at in so many different ways. And so initially I'm thinking, like, how do I show up physically for my friends when things are difficult, right? So we may be into it. We may have just had an argument, which a lot of times that's our case. And we have to literally just move forward, right? And so for me, showing up for my friends is being able to shift quickly, right? And we're showing up physically for my friends is being able to shift quickly, right? So like if the baby is having a birthday, Chelsea's daughter is having a birthday party, like to me, it's important that regardless if me and Chelsea fall out, we mad at each other, we've been talking for a month, I will be at the birthday party and I'm gonna say, hi Chelsea, hi Lynn, hi Ray, hi everybody. I'm so happy to see everybody, and whatever we have going on can be discussed later.
Right.
So that's how I show up. Like physically, how I show up to my friends, and if we're in, like, I guess it's not mentally, but the other way, is I always try to be like in a place where no matter what happens in a situation, I'm always forgiving. Whether it's for forgiving of myself and what I have said or done, or forgiving of my friend for what they have said or done. Like to me, that is so important. And being able to, I'm going to say this word again, shift. Like, okay, she said that to me and she had a bad attitude, but I still love her. I still care about her well-being. And so it doesn't matter. Like, girl, call me tomorrow. Like, we're good. We're completely good. And y'all will attest to that. You call me, we argue in 2 minutes, 3 minutes later, we're good. Like, I don't know.
What you eating?
Nothing is that deep.
What you eating? Yeah, that's it.
Like, completely forgot that.
Like, yeah, so anyways.
Like, no, girl. So that's how I decided to show up for my friends. And Damon, someone who's watching, shared.
Hey, Damon.
Okay, Damon said how I show up in difficult situations with the mindset that the end goal is to come out of the difficult or confrontational situation together at the best as I or we can, especially if I have mad love for the friend. And I feel like I feel like that's what Kanidra's saying. It's like, at the end of the day, like, I love you and somebody needs to be the bigger person in this situation. And one of the things that I was going to kind of tag in at the end of what y'all was going to say is like, sometimes it's hard, like, just to normalize the difficulty of like swallowing your pride.
And it's hard.
Not wanting to like be right or feel justified, because sometimes it feels good to be angry. And just so like, just forget about it. Let's just move on, right? Because at the end of the day, the grand scheme, if you allow yourself to just move on from it, especially when it's petty, you're not gonna remember in a week. Me and Kanita done argued over so many things. And I don't remember half of it because who cares? You know what I mean? But it doesn't always feel good.
Because I was in the middle, just sitting here like.
So let me ask y'all this though, really in between here. So if it's a difficult situation, or how Kay said, just shift quickly, like Risha said in the comments. If you've shifted and your friend has not shifted, because maybe that triggers something that you don't even know about, or then how do you move forward?
But that's like what I said in the beginning. If we have the same ending goal, may have two different time limits. Like, Kay is right. She's a instant switcher. Me, I'm gonna sit back on it. Like, I love you, but as my leak would say, feelings aren't facts. I have to tell myself that for about 5 minutes, and I can come back and be like, yeah, my feelings aren't facts. We got the same end goal. She wants the best for me. I want the best for her. So your feelings aren't facts.
Sorry, yeah. So when you come back 5 minutes later, do you have the conversation of this happened, or is it just same goal? I don't even care. We're moving forward with this friendship.
This is where you need to know your friend. I've had multiple conversations with my friends about my reactions to things and how I'll go away and I need to process my feelings, and then I'll come back to you, because at the end of the day, I've regulated myself to say, hey, are you overreacting in this situation? Is your reaction warranted to this situation? Do you got an attitude with yourself or your friends? Because that's really what we fail to ask ourselves too. Because sometimes I got an attitude with little Ray over there, not Kenidra. So when I'm talking to Kenidra, now I'm like, girl, come on. I'm
be giving me little Ray problems.
Yeah, it's not her. It's little Ray.
Dad.
Your friends in your turnaround time, like Chelsie says, Chelsie needs a day, and Chelsie will like say something, and we know, like, okay, that didn't hit her right. She'll be back tomorrow.
I will. Yes. And I'm the kind of like the shifter who's kind of like, I do need some time, but I want to talk about it. Like, I want to talk about my feelings and my emotions. Don't roll your eyes at me, honey, because we gonna talk, okay?
That's me.
I like to talk about my feelings, and I can appreciate when someone wants to talk about their feelings too, because I sometimes feel like when things get like swept under the rug, it's very triggering for me for various reasons that we won't go into today. But I don't like that when we act like nothing happened, right? And so, like, I have to be mindful of my friends who are not. We don't have the same process, and it does go back to what Lynn says with, like, like, at the end of the day, we have the same goal, and so my accountability comes into, okay, I have a tude right now. I want to talk to Lynn about what I'm feeling, or maybe Kay about what I'm feeling. A tude is an attitude. Sorry, I abbreviated. But I just maybe need to take some time, or I need to meet them where they are, because that's another big part about friendships and how you show up is meeting people where they are.
Absolutely.
I honestly think I could do better in this place, because for this exact reason that Risha said, like,
you may notice that your friend they might not even be there, that they're not emotionally mature. They may not just be able to shift quickly, right? And that's not a trait that everyone has. And so for me, being able to shift quickly, sometimes I like force my friends or pull my friends to come with me, and then that makes things so much worse. I can think of a time with all three of you that, like, we butted heads, we had a situation, an argument or whatever, and I tried to force you to shift, and y'all were like, but leave me alone though. Like, stop texting me, stop calling me, I'll hit you up when I'm ready. Like, you don't do not disturb right now. And then I just had to eat that. Like, I had to sit with that. And then a part of that for me is just like, okay, so clearly I did something wrong. I played a huge role in this. So I need to sit with what I did wrong. And so when they're back, or when they're ready to come back, or when they're ready to talk about it, because they all want to talk about it. And that is so important to me. They all want to talk about it.
We go talk.
I'm able to say, I apologize for this. This is what I did wrong, and now I apologize for it. But that's a work in progress, because I still be like, me and Ray got into it yesterday, and I was like, okay, so y'all, about this meeting, like,
yeah. So I could do better at that. That was good.
You could do better at it, like that.
Y'all so cute. Let me just say, y'all cute. Y'all so cute.
Girl.
Yeah.
This is like real life, everybody.
For real, it really is. Okay, so the next question.
Okay.
How do you know when to walk away from a friendship?
Well, I guess I'll start.
Yes.
I'm still working. I'm still working on this one. I suck at walking away. So how do I know when to walk away from a friendship? Why is it a struggle for me? I think when it's time. You said what now?
Why do you think you suck at it? Because you just answered the question somehow.
Yeah.
Said, why do you think you suck? I mean, it doesn't be like a situation you got to tell us your business, but like, why do you think you suck at it?
I would like to share my business. No, I'm just kidding. No, I
Nosy, let me know.
I think
Right.
Shut up. I think I just could use work on walking away. I think when relationships aren't reciprocal,
Yeah.
I think when I'm giving more, I oftentimes, so obviously I'm a therapist because I talked about that. And sometimes I talk about like this metaphorical rope, like you pick up the rope and you're like playing tug of war. And sometimes it just seems like a power struggle with some people. And while any relationship, friendship, family, romantic partnerships, whatever, while none of them are like sunshine rainbows, like sometimes it just shouldn't be that hard. I don't feel like I should be working harder or I should be pulling harder when another person is not holding their weight, or like when I was talking about like the friend, like I can't remember what I was going to say, but essentially like if it's not reciprocal, and if I feel like I'm working harder, if I feel like I'm taking accountability and I'm owning my stuff, maybe I said some stuff that was mean, I'm going to own my stuff because probably shouldn't have said it. And whole time like the other person is like, well, you're this, you're that, blah blah blah, you made me feel that, and you want to be over here being the victim. And it's like, I get you want to be the victim, and that's where you are right now, but at the same time, like, let's take ownership for how you showed up in this dynamic too. And if
Right.
that's always the case, if that's always our dynamic, and I'm always worn out, if I'm dreading hanging out with you, if I'm worried and walking on eggshells that something's going to happen, or I can't bring you around other people, then maybe this is a relationship that is not for me. And I recognize that sometimes that does happen for me, where I am in those situations. This is why I say I suck at it. Why I am in those situations and I don't know what to do, because, well, honestly, if I'm being for real, this is my business. I'm a people pleaser. And I'm in therapy for it. I work on myself. You know what I mean? None of us are perfect, but I don't like people to be upset at me. I want to make everybody happy, but I recognize that that's not realistic. Right. So that's my own journey, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I will say I'm not the best at it. Have I done it? Yes. Will I do it again? Absolutely, if needed. I say I'm not the best at it because, for one, I think that everyone deserves another chance, and I choose another because sometimes it takes more than just the second chance or the third chance. So I do believe people deserve more than one chance to be there, to get it right, or whatever. So I say I'm not the best at it. I will try to communicate with you differently, slowly, faster, text, letters, phone call, in person, just to see how we can get on the same page and get aligned before I feel like I need to walk away. And that's something that I learned after my first experience with having to leave a friendship. The situation was we were super close, super cool. We called each other partners in crime. Partner, that's my partner. When you see her, you see me. When you see me, you see her, type deal. You know what I'm saying? Vacations and everything. And just on our vacation, our last vacation, it was just, I could feel that something different has shifted within our friendship dynamic, Yeah. I wasn't sure why, maybe because her other friends were there. I don't care. The relationship shifted. And for me, it was enough. So I just literally, when we got back in town, just cut off all communication. I didn't block her. I didn't, like unfriend her on anything, nothing like that. There was nothing to talk about, in my opinion. If she calls me, sure, I'll answer the phone. But it was enough for me to walk away from it. So, and I think one of the things that I did do, I did pray about that as well. Like, God, should I walk away? Can you show me what happened, what shifted in our friendship? Things like that. Show me. I pray about everything. Anyway, I prayed about it. Once I got home, that was it. Like, she didn't reach out. So clearly she felt the same thing. And it might not be clearly, but maybe she felt the same thing I felt. But that was just the end of it. I left it where it was. So, yeah. Yes.
I really like how you mentioned you talk about it. Like, I think that's one thing that's super important that can be really hard. It's real easy to just ghost somebody or just cut them off and not have a hard conversation. But if you allow yourself to at least be like, okay, this relationship is worth enough for me to have a hard conversation where I'm vulnerable, they might be vulnerable. We might have to say some things to each other that that they may not want to hear and I don't want to hear. Right. And if it doesn't work after that, it's like, at least I tried. At least I did my due diligence. So I really like that.
Right. And after that situation, that's what led me to let me for sure try to go the extra mile because I don't want nobody feeling uneasy about me. So
Yeah.
To Chelsea's point, for me to answer that question, I am the ghost artist. I am the disappearing act. You will not see where I'm at tomorrow.
Casper.
Casper, and I'm not friendly.
But what they say
that doesn't mean that's the way to do it. When I say that, I need to work on it just like these ladies, because I get to a point where I feel like if you're not for me or if you're hindering me, we don't need to talk no more.
Yeah.
That's a part of like generational curses and things like that, where you just don't trust people out there. But I have to consult with God a lot about people because people are going to disappoint you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people are here for.
They be peopling.
They're man.
People all the time. But I'll go back to saying again, if I have the same end goals with my friends, and you are an amalgamation of the people that you hang out with. So if I've had an issue with this person and I can't go to them and talk to them about it, or we can't come to an equal stand ground, that's when I walk away. Me presently on my journey, I walk away. So I'm working on that.
Okay.
To just like make sure I really assess what's going on around me. Like I don't have to, a lot of people I didn't have to walk away from. A lot of people needed reasons or second chances or anything like that. And now I'm more at a place where I have an understanding with God to say, stop depending on people, because people will disappoint you. They're not God. I'm God. So me having that understanding with God allows me to have grace for not only those people, but also myself. So I got to do it with God. I'm going to do it wrong.
Very good. I think for me, it's like, I don't know when to walk away from friendships. I don't. I've never actually been challenged with this though. I've never had a friendship that I had to walk away from. It just always naturally happened. So our friendship just naturally fell apart, or just ended, or we moved to different parts of the country, or whatever it was, it always naturally happens. But until that naturally happens that way, I would like to consider that I may indulge in toxic relationships, and so in toxic relationships,
we keeping it real,
right?
Relationships like that that aligns with friendships too, right? That aligns with relationships that you have with your friends, your families, men, whatever, right? And so I can say that some of my friendships may have been toxic, and I didn't know how to walk away. And I always just wait for it to happen naturally. But that is something that I am working on. Because there was a recent friendship that like something happened. It was a blow up. We couldn't find a common ground. And so we both just decided we need to move on.
And we don't be friends anymore. And that doesn't mean I need to block you, like Ray said. It doesn't mean that we can't be friends on social media and I can't comment on your stuff and like on your stuff and all of that. But like, we're just not good friends. Like, we don't mesh well together. And that probably was the first time ever that I was like, okay with being like, okay, like, we're not friends anymore. That's okay.
Yeah. You mentioned the blocking thing, y'all. So I used to be the block queen. I feel like my mom and my daddy created block because I was blocking people left and right. Block. You text me block, right? But I spoke to one of my mentors and she was talking to me about how she was dating a guy that wasn't right for her. And I was like, well, just block him in that face. She's like, no, I'm not going to block him. Stop, real screaming. And her reasoning behind that was she said that if I have to block someone, that means I need to work on myself. I need to work on my boundaries and reaching out and looking at your page, the boyfriends, the girlfriends, looking at your page, stalking. And I was just, okay. But I had to think about that because that is really true. Because how many times did I get into it with my man, block him because he made me mad, or a friend, and then when I got something else to say, unblock, send, block. Like, no, you can't do that. Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. So like,
That's unhealthy. Don't do that.
take my time when it comes to blocking people now because that's me working on me. You
Yeah.
can say all you got to say. I don't have to. I don't even have to read it. You know, so blocking that's a thing, y'all.
It's
Definitely. I like what Risha said here. She said friendships can be seasonal, ages, and stages. I don't look at it as a walking away. We outgrow friendships at certain seasons, and sometimes we reconnect or not. And guess what? That's okay.
That's
It's
absolutely
okay.
okay.
People
That's a
are
very
people or reasons, seasons, or I forgot the third one, Lord Jesus.
lifetime.
Lifetime and identifying them are important.
I love that too. That is a very kind of like, if you look at like stages of like acceptance and whatnot, that's like the very, or maybe like stages of grief, right? Because when you walk away from a friendship, when any type of relationship ends, right, you don't grieve just after death. Like sometimes you grieve the loss of a friendship, you grieve breakups, whatever have you, and you go through all the different phases, and I feel like what was outlined was the kind of acceptance phase, like, you know what, this person was here for a season. But all those other phases, like the anger, denial, the anger is probably blocking, the denial, the rationalization. Well, maybe and it's the rationalizing is the people pleasing for me. It's like, well, we did have that good time that one time, and I do like when we hang out. We do be having fun, right? So you got you go through all of those phases. You go through all of those phases of the grief process before you finally get to a place of acceptance of, if you allow yourself to get there, allowing yourself is big. You know what, maybe this just isn't healthy for me. And I think the same is like for blocking, right? Because I don't necessarily look at blocking as a bad thing. That is a boundary for me. I like to block it minimizes toxic behavior. Somebody else is gonna say something. It's probably toxic.
No. Okay, so somebody asked the question, and I want to put that up on the screen because it's a great question, and that was, how do you respect boundaries? In friendships. We're gonna talk about family boundaries and relationship boundaries and career boundaries at another time. But how do you respect friendship boundaries?
I think for me, it goes back to knowing who your friend is. And recognizing what's going on with you. So like sometimes when my friends are feeling uncomfortable or something's happened or they're angry, they got an attitude with something that has nothing to do with me, right? And I know logically that like I need to give them their space and just let them go through their process, right? They just need to be quiet or just be in their feelings right now. But the work that I'm doing is when I recognize that I'm trying to make it about me, and I try to like push them to like be more social or just come outside, just talk more, you know what I mean? And that's just maybe not where they are, right? And so sometimes that's like an unspoken boundary but it's knowing, the person that you're with and knowing your friend and kind of understanding their mood a little bit. That's what I say for that one.
I think so too. Knowing the person is very, very important to knowing what their boundaries are. It's a conversation too, because a lot of times you don't know your friend's boundaries and they don't mirror yours. Like I know I have social anxiety, so I'll tell my friends, like, I know we're going into this place. I may do such and such and such and such and such. That's my boundary. I'm not doing this for any other reason but X, Y, and Z. So my friends know when I go into a place, oh, Lynn has a little bit of social anxiety. Let her get into her groove, and then X, Y, and Z. They respect that boundary instead of going in and being like, hey, girl, let's go over here, walk over here. Like, I need to go in and observe the room, gather myself in this new setting, and then we can.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kay.
You want me to go? How do I know when? What was the question again? How do you know when to respect boundaries? Or how do you respect boundaries is the question. How do you respect boundaries? I am learning to allow people to just be themselves, and I am learning to be okay with everybody not being like me. Because when it is time for me to
have my boundaries respected, I want that done. And so I'm learning that it can't be one-sided. It has to be on both parts. So if such and such said, don't call them anymore, stop calling them, Kay. Stop calling them. They're irritated with you, right? They don't want to talk to you. It's okay. That's fine, because when someone when someone when you don't want to talk to someone, you don't want them to be messaging you and calling you, right? So learning to just treat people how I want to be treated. I guess that's what it is for me. It's like give people the same respect that I would like to receive. And so that's how I respect boundaries. Like, okay, Lynn, I know we about to go in this place, and you know I'm about to be in here looking like where my husband at, where my husband at, where my husband at. So I'm not gonna drag you with you. I'm gonna find us a cute little seat, and we're both gonna sit, and then we're, you know, do our thing. Y'all don't act like y'all don't be walking into places like it's my husband in here.
All the time.
Girl, everywhere.
Oh, I'm talking.
You never know.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Because if my mama and my daddy tell me I need to be married one more time.
Oh Lord, they pushing you out.
Yeah, that's a
No,
conversation.
but seriously, that's not my goal going into places. But I just use that for an example because I understand that for Lynn, that doesn't work for her boundaries. And so since we're so different in that way, and I don't mind having conversations with strangers as soon as I walk in the door, I know that it's kind of like not forcing her to be like, this is my friend Lynn, you know, she blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't do that to her because I know that will make her uncomfortable. I wait until she's able to stand her own. And I guess it goes back to like what we said earlier, is knowing your friends. I know that I can see the shift when my friends are ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think it's the same way with Chelsea and Ray. Like, Chelsea might walk into the place and she's ready to start the party, literally. And I'm not dancing. I'm not doing all of that. And Chelsea be like, come to the dance floor.
You better
I'm
be
gonna sit right here.
right on the
And they respect that. They respect, like, I'm gonna sit here. Y'all can go. I'm gonna sit here. Y'all want me to record? Y'all need some pictures? Like, so I guess it's just learning your friends too.
She don't never want to do a TikTok, y'all. And I'm not on TikTok, but I like to do. I like to do the TikToks. It doesn't matter. I like to do them. Okay. But I know she'll record it for me. And Lynn,
I will.
Ray,
And I post it on my TikTok because I'm literally, she ain't got one.
and I never will.
But somebody asked this, y'all. Wait, not that one. This one. Somebody asked, what are some friendship boundaries?
That's a good question.
Help us with that, Ray.
Ray?
Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. That's a good question. What are some friend boundaries? Yeah, I'm not really for sure because my friends, the people that I call friends are, and I'm saying, because I think you have yourself, your siblings or your family, and then you have your best friends and your friends, right? So my friends, my outer circle friends, I still consider them pretty much family. So boundaries for them, I'm not really sure on, you know, okay, here's one. Don't come in my house and open my refrigerator. Oh. We're not there yet. That's just, you know, something light, but I'm not really sure on that. I don't know, y'all. Help me out.
It's a boundary. It's definitely a boundary. It's as small as that. A boundary for me is don't go telling my business around these streets. Excuse me, let me say that in a more professional way. Do not spread what I tell you in confidence to somebody else because I've entrusted you with this information. That's a big boundary of mine. If it's broken, I'm going to.
Yeah.
So what do you say when they do that, Ray or Lynn? They break your boundary.
No.
No, that's probably what you do. Don't sugarcoat. That face and everything.
Yes, that is.
Growing.
Yeah, I'm growing.
Not working on me.
I think probably about your third visit, you can open the refrigerator. That's it.
But I also, can I just say, like, we don't have to, I don't feel like we need to be politically correct with our boundaries. Like, I mean, you shouldn't, like, intentionally be rude. But if it's your house and it's your fridge and you want to say, don't touch. Mm-hmm. That's what you say, and you never have to clean it up because it's your house and your refrigerator, right? And
if
it's not
it's
on
your
you
true friend, they'll understand that that's your personality.
Yeah.
And it's also not on you you or any of us to be to police anybody else's emotions. They accept it's their job to manage your emotions and how they receive what you say, right? And so if they want to get an attitude, yada yada, slam the door, block you because you said then I guess y'all weren't really good friends.
And baby, you can go.
That's we'll walk out. So what are some good friendship boundaries then?
I mean, I think there's a billion friendship boundaries. I think one for me is like
9 to 9. That's my boundary. So that means that my phone goes on do not disturb at 9 p.m. and my phone comes off of do not disturb at 9 a.m. And I don't care who you are, if you're not on my favorites list, which is a list of about 5, your call is not going to come through, and neither is your text. And I am not going to text you back until 9 a.m.
I said what I said. That's my boundary, right? And so I think
There's a billion different boundaries. Boundaries look like whatever you created. Boundaries can be big or small. It could be like, I don't want you to ever call me. I only want you to text me. That's my boundary. I don't want you to hug my baby. That's my boundary. I don't want you to tell me how to parent. That's my boundary.
right? It's a lot of things. We can go list to list to list to list, but we don't have time to go list to list.
Yes.
But I want to get to our last question too, y'all. Let me see. And the last question, I'm trying to get it so I can tell them
What it is, so they can see. As how do you identify your squad? Right? How do you identify your squad? How do you identify people who should be your friends?
Chelsie.
Okay. So I would characterize myself as having, I like how I think Lynn might have talked about like the difference. No, it was Ray who talked about like the different circles, right? Of like it's like degrees of like I can't remember the clinical way to say it. But anyway, like I feel like I have a few squads, to be honest. Like I have, this is like my main core squad.
Chelsea
Like
got all the friends.
Whatever. I love people, and I have great relationships. I'm so grateful for all the people in my life. Anyway, I have various squads from different periods in my life, and so like y'all are like my core squad from high school. I have my sorors, and then I have my Springfield girls, the Black Girl Magic Crew. And if y'all watching, hey y'all. And then I have like my people from like different places in life where I may not talk to them as often. But I guess, and that's not really answering the question, but the similarity, I guess, in all of those is we show up for each other. I think that's really, really big for me. It's really important when people show up for me and they invite me places and I feel welcome and we just like pour into each other and we could just sit with each other and like laugh and stuff like that. And we don't tear each other down. We don't tear other women down.
Right.
You know, we gossip when we need to gossip, but it's just, we just uplift each other. And I often say that like, a lot of my friends are like me. It's so like when I hear people talking about like, you know, negative things about women and whatnot and how all these women are like this, I'm like, really? Because all of my friends are great. Like, great. So everybody is great. And I guess I'm saying I'm great and I don't mind hyping myself up. And I guess that's how I identify. Okay. And I guess that's how I identify my squad. When we're all like working towards something, we're all working towards making ourselves better. We're all pouring into ourselves. We all take accountability for our stuff. And we're just all phenomenal women. That was very grand, but that's how I feel.
So, how I identify my squad, if I'm able to pour out or dump on you and you're able to dump on me, I think that's a good playing ground. You know, you'll challenge me, I'm able to challenge you. We can have this super duper tough conversations, or you know, those type of people, those type of relationships to me are like, I'm watching you. You might be squad material, you know. But even it can be something just as simple as light as I'll call you, let me come over, or you invite me over, and you know, first thing I do is go to sleep on your couch. Like, okay, you're in the squad. You're my type of person, you know. Like, I think that right there, that's how I was able to identify my squad.
For me, it's being, as the Christians would say, evenly yoked. And I don't only mean that romantically, but I would mean that with the people that are around me, because I am what is around me. So if you are not, I'm not judging anybody's outcome, because I have different numbers of squads too. But what makes me have discernment about these squads is identifying what their purpose are in my life, and making sure that is being actionable, or it's being actioned out in my life. So If I have to question your loyalty, because that's a big boundary for me, you're not a part of my squad. If I can't have a difficult conversation with you when we have a disagreement, because we are people and people will people.
Right.
If I can't come to you in a time of need, if I'm down bad and I can't come to you and you're shunning me, you're not my person. You're not in my squad. I can't identify with you. So if you can't motivate me, if I can't motivate you, if I can't talk to you, if you cannot talk to me, if I can't do things with you or be around you, then I can't identify you as a part of my squad. And that's okay, because people's personalities are different. We can be, as my grandmother used to say, associates, but you can't be a part of my squad or be my friend. And that's okay.
That sounds like Scissor Grandmama. You don't have to be mean. Call me rude.
You ain't got to treat me mean.
Right. It's that
I'll
Scissor.
just stay out your way.
Yeah, that's how we work that out.
Right. She said, "You
Right.
did good. You did good." Yeah.
That's really good. How do I identify my squad? I think I have just been lucky enough for the friends I have to not, like, y'all my friends for real. Y'all been my friends my whole life. So like Ray is like, she had no choice but to be my friend.
I know it.
Cousins. So you my friend. Like we got the same last name. You my friend for life, right? And that's how our grandma raised us. Lynn, like, we just happened to be like the only dark skinned girls in our 8th grade or our 2nd grade class when we were 8 years old. So I mean, we just you dark, I'm dark, okay. Like we both cute, we got cute outfits on, okay. Like we just kind of meshed that way, and became friends, and we're friends forever. And chose like nobody else on the cheerleading squad liked us, so we had to be friends. Like we had no choice. Like they don't like you either. Okay, we good. Like we're here. And there was some other friends that we had that didn't nobody like either. They was our friends and still are. Same thing. So I just feel like, and not the varsity cheerleading squad, because I think some people from varsity cheerleading squad are watching. Not that squad, the JV, when y'all had left us because y'all was too good. We wasn't that good. That squad. And so varsity squad, by the way, that's why she's looking like that. So yeah, like I think my friends just kind of naturally happened. But I think subconsciously, I was choosing people who were similar to me and who had the same beliefs that I had, and the same values I have, and the same morals I have. And so I subconsciously chose my squad that way. As I've become older, I've learned to like still do that. Choose people who have the same morals, values, and beliefs that I do. And if you don't, we probably won't even get along anyways. And so that's how I identify my squad. Like, are we alike in any way? Like, we don't have to be the same person. We don't have to look the same, dress the same, or none of that. But like can do you value the things in life that I value? Because those things carry me through life, and you won't understand if you don't. So yeah, that's how I identify my squad.
Are you strive
the stages? Because if we've been friends through lifetimes. Like I've known Ray when she was like a little girl, sassy girl telling me my business in their little elementary school. But knowing the growing stages and being able to ride out with these people through lifetimes is very important. So if you cannot do that, those people aren't your squad either, because you're going to grow, and you maybe grow. I'm not going to be the same person I am now 10 years from now. And my friends understanding that is very important. And they should want that from me as I want that for them too.
right.
Absolutely. And just because someone is not a part of your squad does not mean that you're not their friend. It just means that you're not like it's a circle and then it's a square. You in a square, not in a circle. I just made that up.
But it went so well. Honestly, I was like, dang, that was good.
That's how it happens, y'all.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's get to these questions, because it's some good questions, but I want to throw this one up here too. I don't mix up my squad, but I do allow certain members to pop in and out of my circles. And that's what I was just saying. You got your circle and your square. Sometimes, it might be a revolving door in that circle where, you might throw somebody else in there, right? Because we have friends that I would say they're part of our squad. They're not at everything that we do, or don't come on every trip we go on, or don't be on the phone with us all the time, but they still a part of our squad. Like, For sure. Like, y'all trying to go somewhere? Yeah, take such and such. All right. Like, yeah, they still a part of our squad. We're just in different places in life, and that's okay.
Yeah, I agree with Risha there. Like, I'm not a big fan of mixing, and this could be maybe a selfish thing because I just feel like if that's my friend, she's my friend over there. I might invite her, but you can't invite her. No.
I
No.
love
I
that.
agree with that. I just want to.
I do that. I learned my lesson. Do not. It's great for everybody to be together in harmonious peace, but everybody's personality and end goals do not match.
Doesn't
So
mix.
that's good, Risha. I don't mix my squad, but that's from personal lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends. I think it depends on the squad personalities. I have also learned my lesson in mixing squad, and it ain't always the nicest situation. But if you get people with like-minded personalities, you might be able to commingle, right? Two different people, two different squads on separate sides of the table.
Yeah.
We gonna move on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so we got to get to this question. Where did it go? Okay. Sharice asked,
Ooh.
how to heal from friendship breakups so how do you heal from a friendship where you've been friends for 10 years and now you guys are broken up?
Can I answer this one? I went through this a few times.
Yes.
I'll start answering this. So I've gone through. This is when I realized that like friendship breakups almost feel harder than romantic breakups. And with this person, we had a conversation, and we literally broke up. We're like, we don't think we're healthy for each other. Like this is just not a healthy dynamic anymore. And I think there is no right or wrong way or specific linear way to grieve because you're grieving the loss of that person in your life. But I think the best thing that you can do is to give space for your emotions and acknowledge that like it's okay to miss them. I'm sad because this person's not in my life anymore. Even if the breakup was bad, even if it was ugly, like that person still had a big place in your life. That person probably brought a lot of joy to your life. And it's okay to acknowledge that because oftentimes people want to be like, oh, just get over it. They were yada yada anyway, blah blah blah. Just move on. And emotions are not that they're not that easy. They're not that basic. And so allow yourself space to be like, dang, like I'm sad today. I miss this person. This is a Chelsea thing. I don't necessarily know how healthy or unhealthy it is, so I'm not going to put that much. I won't put too much of a label on it. But if you feel inclined, like reach out to that person, say, hey, I don't, we don't. I hope you're doing okay. No bad blood. If there's no bad blood, it's okay to do that too. Give yourself permission to be a human. That's what I think.
Check-ins are good. Check-ins are good.
Yeah.
Okay, our next question. How has your personal did I just do that on camera? I'm sorry. How has your personal issues without violating your privacy affected your relationships with one another? Let me put that back up there. Your personal issues. How has your personal issues affected your relationships with one another?
Okay, so I was going through a breakup, and that guy and my best friend at the time were super close as well. Nothing happened to my knowledge. But when we broke up, my best friend and I broke up. So I would say that was like a personal issue that kind of like intertwined with our friendship. I still don't know the real reason why, but hey, it wasn't on me. So I'm okay with that. Like that's how you feel. You wanted to leave when he left. Both y'all.
For me, I'm a talk person, but then I need to go off and like hibernate and be by myself. So I'll tell my friends like I have some loss in the family or some things are going on where I personally can't support a friendship where like the banter back and forth because my emotions are just killing me. So I'll be like, I can't talk today, or I'm not a phone person. So my friends know to text me. I'll answer the phone if y'all call, but please don't block me on that phone forever. So that's my personal issue. It's not theirs. So it's basically talking it out about so my friends know me more. So it's like I'm reacting this way at this time because I got some personal stuff going on, y'all. if I react this way, don't take it personally. If you notice me doing this, please let me know, because I'm not trying to project that onto you. I'm going through something. So being honest about where you are emotionally and where your state of being is with your friends is imperative.
I think for me, for this question, yeah, I have to jump in. Like, honestly, like there was a time in my life that was like extremely rough for me. And like during that time, I feel like it honestly strengthened our friendship. So like that's the other side of that. Like it really showed me who my friends were as people. It showed me that my friends cared about me. It showed they loved me. Like this time happened during my birthday, and like they like threw me a hotel party with just us three, and we had our matching pajamas and like cupcakes and all of this stuff. It was really amazing. And like then they put all my other friends on Zoom on the TV. So then Ray was there, and my cousin Shadil, Bree, she's on right now. She was there, and Victoria, and it was lit. It was really like a party. And so, like, I think that was like a personal situation that happened to me that strengthened my friendships and the trust and the love that I had for all of my friends and my cousins. Because that was literally amazing to me. And I knew, like, if they knew that I was experiencing a low time in my life and they could show up for me in that way, regardless of life and what was happening with them, I knew I had the right squad. Like, that was for sure.
So
That was my opinion.
Another question we have is,
what about a family member? This is if a family member distances themselves without notice and you block them. How do you feel about that?
why are you blocking them?
You get mad.
Not the family.
no, but seriously, like that's the question. That's a really good question. It's like, why did you block them? Why didn't you try? Did you? I shouldn't say why didn't you, because perhaps you did. So
did you try to or attempt to find out what happened to them or why the distance? Is there something that you did wrong that you could apologize about? But if they're being toxic, then yeah, block them. But if they're not being toxic, I think it's worth a conversation or a check-in.
Yeah. Distance is very important to not take personally. Ask questions on, because a lot of us, we're in this social media age, and I say this all the time. We're inundated by Facebook all day, that if we don't feel like we're measuring up, a lot of depression and stuff can enter in places that you wouldn't even think, like, oh yeah, that girl got a BMW and a 6-figure job, she fine. But you don't know what that person's journey is. So that distance, it could be something that they're doing for them, or it could be a little bit of shade. You never know, but that's why you have to ask before we just cut them off, because that distance may be a cry out for help, and you taking it personally. So you're like,
That's good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
okay, the next question.
Chelsie, can you read it?
How do you know when it's real? My friends from young adult have all passed away. It's not easy to get to know a person even just for a friendship. So what I think I'm reading with this one is like, when I'm meeting new friends, like, how do I know it's like a real friendship? That is a really good one.
I got a question answer ready, because I do.
Go ahead, girl. I'm thinking.
I say this because we all are in this adult age will say, oh my gosh, it's so hard to find real friends. It's so hard to make friends and things like that. But knowing that you need to give out what you need first is what will help you. So you need to be a friend in order to get a friend. So reaching out to people, supporting people, seeing where you can support them. And it's actionable, and it's hard now because we all met when we were younger. So we were supposed to be friends. But being intentional and actionable about those friendships, now you have to work it like a job. It's a job to show up for my friends. It's a job. It's a commitment. So saying that I need something, you need to put it out there in the world, and it'll come back to you, because that's how God works. So you need a friend, be a friend.
Absolutely.
I just want to piggyback off of that. Like, I remember when I moved to a new city after graduating, and I had no friends at all. And I went to this event, and I sat down, and I started talking to people next to me because, well, what do I have to lose? And I didn't have any friends, and I had to. And and I'm a socially anxious person, so I was a little nervous. But I did it anyway because I wasn't gonna let the fear win. And the conversations didn't really go anywhere. Like people were friendly, but they weren't really gravitating towards me. And I was about to leave, and I got introduced to somebody who is now part of one of my squads. And what made this person and the now people who I call, that squad, I'm gonna just call them out, the Black Girl Magic Crew, is like it's like that we were all very similar. We were all transplants. We all had moved to that place. We lived in Springfield, Illinois, for work. We all were looking for friends, and we were just honest. We were just like what Lynn was saying, like we're just honest about what we need. And I don't have any friends. You don't have any friends either, girl. You trying to go out? Yeah, I'm trying to go out. Here we are, years later.
Dinner tomorrow. That's how it happens. That's exactly what I would say. Like, how do you know when it's a genuine friend? Just be yourself, and even tell that next person, be yourself, and let me learn you for who you are, because that's where the the realness comes from.
What's that saying? Real recognize real.
Yep. If it works long term, then it does. If not, it not.
Right. All right. Somebody tried to bring the heat. And they said, "Have y'all written a book?
Or do you plan to write a book together or individually?"
I guess we're writing a book, y'all.
Girl. We ain't had time to write no books.
Whereas, I have a book. I have a journal and a book that I'm working on. So keep an eye out for those.
Love it. I have not written a book. I don't really plan to write a book in this phase of life. However, I'm gonna write this dissertation
and I'm gonna publish it so y'all can get that book. But that's it. That's the only book that I'm gonna be writing right now. I'm gonna give y'all a smooth 300 pages, but that's it.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't think I have not written a book. I don't at this point in my life aspire to write a book. But I will say, switching gears just a little bit to my introduction, I do enjoy educating and I love talking to audiences. And so part of my my next phase career plan is getting out in front of more audiences, educating people about mental health, specifically Black and Brown people, specifically people in workplaces, and about mental health, and having really deep, intimate conversations about it so their lives can be transformed.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for my TED Talk in the future, guys.
Come on.
Hey.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
I love that. Okay, so since we transition into this whole book writing, thing, so no, we have not written a book together either. However, we do have some things in the works. We're not just here to talk to y'all, right? So we're here to host conversations, but also provide resources, right? And so we have an event coming up. I am going to put the link in the
I'll put the link in here so y'all can see what the link is and you can go sign up for the event. However, this event is an event, I think is it for the ladies?
No, I think anybody can come.
Oh, okay. Well, we call it a girls' night in, right?
True.
But it's not, I guess the men can come. It's not just for the ladies, right? But we are going to have our next conversation about, is it me? Am I the problem? So kind of a lot of the questions we got today, or a couple of the questions we got today, really align with that. So our next conversation is it me? Am I the problem? And that is a conversation about, Chelsie, tell them what is the conversation about.
The conversation is about relationships. So we're going to focus on relationships with that one. And so we might bring in some other relationships.
I forgot to say Valentine's Day.
Yes, and it's a few days before Valentine's Day. So it's going to be on Friday, February 10th, a few days before Valentine's Day. That's why we kind of made it like a girls' night in. But men, if you want to crash the party, then come on. We need a male perspective. Right?
We single, so that's why we're saying the demographic is us, and that's why we're saying that. But men, please come. partners, please
Yeah.
because it'll be group participation. We need everybody's input as we go on this journey. We're learning with you guys. We're just sharing our expertise. So men, families, everybody's welcome. It will be geared in our expertise and our demographic as young, single Black professionals, but everybody's welcome.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Did y'all see that
And
comment?
so,
Y'all single, let the men come.
what they
Yeah,
say?
single.
Y'all single, let the
Y'all
men.
single at the meet? That's somebody's mama.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. But
Hmm.
I love the men perspective though, the man's perspective, because
For
it's
sure.
it's completely different than ours.
So needed.
It's completely different. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, so join us for a girls' night in. It's gonna be an intimate conversation about
Relationships. So when I was saying, talking about
walking away with resources. We are going to provide you a resource to propel you, sustain you.
and I can't tell y'all what's going to be in that resource. But you asked if we wrote a book. It ain't a book, Bree. But
It's a resource guide.
It's towards it. Yeah, a tour guide. That's what it is. A step by step, a directional or something like that. I made that up. Directional, is that a word?
I think that's a word.
I think everybody is getting the gist. But yeah, you're gonna walk away with some resources, and we're gonna have intimate conversation. We were pretty open today about what we've been through and how we've experienced, hardships and coming together with friendships. And we're gonna kind of continue that conversation and focus it more so on relationships for that Valentine's Day event. And we'll kind of and as Lynn said, we'll incorporate all of our expertise because that's just our own individual lens. And the purpose of "is it me? Am I the problem?" really comes from sometimes we question ourselves. We tend to blame ourselves. We tend to personalize, and sometimes it's not always us. Sometimes it is us, but it's not always us. And so it's also an opportunity for you to reflect on how you show up in relationships, how other people show up in relationships with you, and for you to pause and think about it. Like, is it me? Like, am I the problem? Is it somebody else? Do I need to have one of these hard conversations that the squad was talking about?
Yeah, because being self-aware through your life journey is very, very important. So anything that we speak about will be like a self-awareness journey, because is it me? Sometimes it is you. Sometimes it's not you. But being able to self-identify that is very important.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So our event again is on February 10th at 6 p.m. It will be on Zoom. You can purchase tickets on the Eventbrite. And so that Eventbrite is www.thesquad.eventbrite.com. Again, you can purchase tickets there. They're $10. That's literally just to pay for the resources that you guys are going to get. And so $10 tickets, thesquad.eventbrite.com. Once you purchase your ticket, you'll receive the Zoom link at that time. And so again, February 10th, 6 p.m. on Zoom. Please join us. We're really excited for that conversation. That conversation is not going to be public. So it will not be on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, or nobody else's live. Okay. It's going to be a private conversation. And so we will be a lot more intimate in that conversation. And so, and you guys will be on camera, so you'll be able to ask your questions out loud. Okay, so again, go to Eventbrite, purchase your tickets. Feel free to send us a message on Instagram
or Facebook if you have a question. Also, please follow us and like our pages. Follow us at the squad. It's right at the bottom. Follow us at the squad talk, TLK talk. And you can find us on Facebook with that same handle. You can find us on Instagram with that same handle. We have been struggling with YouTube, being able to find us with that handle. But if you need the YouTube link, please just message us and we'll forward you the YouTube link. We're on LinkedIn, so you can find us at the squad on LinkedIn. And yeah, we're really excited about our next conversation.
And guys, please don't sleep on the resource that we're offering you. We're taking time on this to make sure that we get you guys properly adequated with everything. So as far as mental health, your spirituality, leadership, and finances, this is something that we stress hard because these are our professional expertise. So we want to do the right thing, which is spread them to our community, because that's the most important thing to do. So this talk is not only to promote girl talk, but it's wellness, to spread wellness in our community. So don't sleep on that resource at all.
Right.
Also,
So grab your
get
coffee.
we were going to say the same thing, girls. Get comfortable. Get
Yeah.
your coffee, or if you want to get some juice, some wine, some water, some popcorn, some
Maybe
pizza.
a little
I'm gonna
tea.
probably have pizza.
Or
Little tea.
gonna have
Have your pajamas on.
Fast, amen.
Yes, I mean, feel free. Like, I mean, I was gonna say no makeup, but then
That's not true.
Dr.
Yeah.
Sheila said that the people invite the men, so you might want to put some
Right.
lashes on, sis.
No, but if
might
he
need
can't
some
take you without that makeup on,
That's a boundary.
That's
I
a
always
fact.
put it down.
We can talk about that night though, but that's a whole nother conversation.
True. That's a boundary.
Yeah,
I
but for real, y'all should be comfortable. Bring your favorite drink.
invite a friend.
Eat, invite a friend. Y'all can watch it together. Put it up on the TV and watch it, or watch it together. Have a girls' night in with your homegirls. Like, however you feel, do it that way. Because it's gonna be good. I mean, it's gonna be real good, and you really do not want to miss it. So yes, go to that Eventbrite, the squad.eventbrite.com, purchase your $10 ticket, and then we'll see you then. Thank y'all for joining us today.
Yes.
I
I have fun doing this.
I love y'all so much, and I love them too, all the people.
And the question,
this is great.
I love the question.
Yes.
We could clearly talk for hours. This is what we do.
Yeah, we gonna
This is
let
what
them
we
go,
do.
Chelsea. We gotta let them go.
But we're not gonna talk for hours.
Joining in our normal.
No, I'm gonna call y'all after this.
Yeah,
Keep talking.
our normal. We'll be doing this anyway. So
Bye, everybody.
Like
Bye, y'all have a good night. Thank you again so much. We'll see y'all on February 10th.
February 10th, 6 p.m.
Get your tickets. Get your tickets.
Don't miss out on that resource.
All right.